is my fight song. Take back my life song.
Hi, everybody. Hey, family. Oh, it's so good to see you. My gosh, that was an amazing start, wasn't it? It really put in frame why we're here today and what we're going to accomplish together this week. Are you guys ready for it? Well, they're not. Are you guys ready for it? Okay. Well, we are going to start this morning because this is a family reunion, right? I hear you saying it. We're giving each other hugs in the hallway, and there's nothing like a family reunion like introducing yourselves to each other, okay? We're going to introduce ourselves to one another first. In honor of what we just did and the way we kicked off this conference and the 250 years that we're celebrating this summer as a nation, if you are a veteran, we'd love to have you stand up this morning to be recognized. And please keep standing because we're going to get to know each other, like I said. So veterans, please stand up and let's all thank them for their service. Now, if you are a family member, you have a son or daughter or spouse in the military, please stand up as well. Thank you for what you do. Now, we're not done. It's early in the morning. We've got to get that blood flowing. For those credit unions who were founded to serve those who serve, the military, first responders, hospitals, teachers, please stand up. Come on. I know it's the majority of the system. Thank you for helping make possible service in your community. We're still not done, though. We're still not done. Some of you are just getting your squats in this morning. If your credit union serves veterans, please stand up. And that should be every single one of you. Okay, now you can sit down. What we want to celebrate in that is that there's a role that all of us play in service. The credit union system, in our 100 years in the U.S., of these 250 years of which we celebrate, has a really rich history in serving those who serve. So this morning, I'm going to tell you a few stories. Is that okay? Okay, oh yes, energy from over here. We're going to tell a few stories because this week we're going to practice telling the story of the system. You saw the video that played before I came out that had the story of your league that you all have built. I want to talk about your story as a person, and I want to talk about your story as a credit union. So if you'll indulge me for just a moment, the team and I had a really creative idea, and I wanted kind of an Oprah moment because in the league system, we don't always get to be like, you get a golden ticket. But one of the ways we wanted to differentiate our conference this year is we wanted to create a special space, kind of like an officers club, a USO, where our vendors could entertain you. And so a few of you under your seat have a golden ticket to this space. Do you want to check? Go ahead. I know you do. All right, wave them if you've got them. Once you find it, let us know. Oh, we got one right back there. Ooh, the golden ticket. Oh, 3. Oh, this is the lucky side. Y'all got to search better over here. So, what is this ticket? This ticket is access to a special space. It's a lounge. It's a very nice environment that some of our vendors, and this is what I know you all care about, it's where they've put the good swag. Okay? So you'll see there are special times you can redeem these tickets. And Samantha, how do we get more golden tickets? Go check out the vendors. Go talk to our partners and our sponsors. They have some more special tickets to hand out. And we wanted to encourage you to go over and get to know them and give them a chance to put their products on display for you because we could not do this conference without the support of our sponsors. So our golden ticket moment, hopefully now we are all ready for story time. I want to take you all to 1943. Italy, specifically, in 1943. If you think of the Italian countryside in 1943, some of the historians in the room already know that this is not quite how it looked. In fact, in 1943, you're looking at an area of Tuscany known as Pitigliano, which I know I'm probably not saying that right, where a farmer named Tullio lived with his family. Tullio had a side hobby in making wine. He had a really robust farm. He had multi-generation family living on the property. His grandkids helped him out with the crops and the harvest. But 1943 was tough because a mile down the road was a German encampment. And at that German encampment, the patrols would come and take food from Tullio's farm and his family. He lived in fear every day of a patrol coming and stopping his grandkids or his wife. The harvest wasn't so good in 1943, as you can imagine, less people working in the fields. But in October of that year, there was a clear sky. The sun was out and a few clouds, and he heard the familiar sound, as you can imagine in Italy during that time, of jets flying overhead. He shielded his eyes from the sun and looked up just in time to see two Allied planes colliding. See, they had been in a dogfight with German patrol flights because Pitigliano had a bridge that was very pivotal to the war effort. It was a town, a small town, even today still remains a very small town, that if the Germans had control of that bridge, they could move supplies. But they were ready to blow it up, which was the lifeline to the town. This was how Tullio had traded his wares and his family had for centuries. And as he watched these two planes collide in the sky, he saw two white plumes come out of the cockpit. Some of you know what that means. It means that the pilots were able, before the collision, to eject from the aircraft. Tullio didn't know if these pilots were alive, or if upon landing they'd be alive, or if the fighter jet, the Germans would shoot them in the air. But he still did the brave and right thing, what many of you would do. He rushed in. He went to help. He knew that if he got there first, his farm was the closest thing to these two pilots. Maybe he could find them before the Germans did and hide them. That's exactly what Tullio did. He took these two young Americans, one of them being John Lyon from Hollywood, California. And why do I know this story so well? Why do I know John Lyon? And about the 9 months he spent hiding with Tullio and his family, slowly learning Italian, getting meals delivered to him when they moved them from the farmhouse with the hay that they'd hide under during patrols out to a cave in the woods where they spent all winter. That's because John Lyon is my husband's grandfather. And I heard the story of John Lyon in his 9 months building a relationship with this little family in Italy when I got to know my husband as we dated. And I'll never forget turning to him and being like, "Oh, babe, is that why you wanted to be in the military? Oh, is that why rescue and special forces was so important to you? Because you read these letters. These pictures of him are in a hallway my kids walk by every single day with a blueprint of his aircraft, with relics from his trunk that was sent home a month into his time missing because he was presumed dead. The letter that the military sent my mother-in-law, because she was the oldest daughter, that said thank you for his service and recognized him posthumously. And he looked at me in the eyes, as husbands do. Some of you will recognize what I'm about to say, and said, "Nah, never thought of it." Well, I have a theory about why he never thought about it. Because look, this is one story. You all have beautiful stories about how your credit union started, right? And you, just like my mother-in-law, have them up. I've been to your credit unions. I've seen them. You have the beautiful timeline up on the wall. Some of you even have the cigar box still. And you recognize your story and how it got you here. But something my husband missed was that sitting and listening to this story growing up, it was giving him a narrative. It was giving him a mission. It was his legacy. Ultimately, I think one of the things we need to work on as credit unions is remembering our story, telling our story, right? Anyone last year see something, say something, solve something? Credit unions need to work on our say something. We have a lot to say. We have such beautiful stories. But what story is your credit union telling now that the next generation is going to sit and listen to and say, I want to be a member of that credit union? Do they even know your story? Is it anywhere other than painted on the wall in the hallway next to the staff break room? Is it on your website? Is it a video? Is it something that pulls members in the door? Our stories aren't our pricing. Sometimes we forget that human connection starts with a story. So I'm going to tell you another story. This one's a lot more recent and a little bit more close to home. Many of you remember the headlines in April. And so I'm going to transport you to 48 hours in Iran. There was a lieutenant colonel. That lieutenant colonel had been what was at the time into a 7-week conflict in Iran. Actually, the pilot he was riding with had been in a friendly fire incident and downed 30 days earlier. That ejection, obviously, typically career-ending. Once you have an ejection, the toll it takes on your body, the toll it takes in the investigation, typically you transition into different work. However, there's so much that needs to be done, right, on this conflict. So this pilot goes back into service right away. Within 30 days, here they are in the skies over Iran, doing reconnaissance at the time is what the official story is. Shot down the pilot and his weapon, lieutenant colonel over his weapon system. They eject separately. Their trajectory actually goes in 2 different directions. Later on, we find that their ejections happen seconds apart. Not supposed to, but it does. Safety measure put one going about 10 kilometers the wrong direction into the mountains. Well, the foothills of the mountains. And here he is, injured, hobbling, and his SEER training kicks in. If you don't know, search and rescue, evade and capture, your first element of training, the second your boots on the ground in an unfriendly zone behind enemy lines, your job is to get away from the crash site, right? Because that's where they're going to look for you first. And on his one good leg, he hobbles his way up into the foothills and then almost 1.5 miles into the mountains. During this time, he has yet to make contact. In fact, his beacon didn't go off until about 12 hours into the rescue. The first vocal contact wasn't until the second nightfall. I think about what it must have felt like. The silence in those mountains, knowing you're behind enemy lines and hoping that somebody's going to come help. I want to take you to the parking lot of your credit union. There is someone sitting in that parking lot behind enemy lines, headed into a financial institution, terrified. You are their last hope. You are their lifeline. As this lieutenant colonel sat hiding in a crevice, he reported that on the second day, he actually heard voices and vehicles. That meant the Iranian search was getting closer to him. There was a $60,000 bounty on him had he been captured by Iranian forces. There was a search and rescue effort underway that he did not know about, but he hoped for. Why? Because the U.S. military has a promise. You know what it is, right? Somebody. No man left behind? Absolutely. We won't leave you behind. It sounds a lot like credit unions. Sounds a lot like our mission. Pete Hegseth, SecDef, said it really, really well. He had a heartbeat, so we were going to go help him. Think about that in your parking lot right now. There is someone who has a heartbeat that needs you to help them. And we have a mission to do that. The U.S. military, in his search and rescue, which is where My husband Garrett gets involved. They go all out for him. One man. They don't know if he's alive. They hope he is. And in fact, when they finally made voice contact, you know what he said? God is good. Those were the 3 words that he shared. In fact, the president said, we were suspicious because that might have been what the enemy would say. His 3 words, God is good. He stared up at the sky and said, I know I have hope. Credit unions were founded on the idea of hope. So what happened? How did the military go rescue this guy? They put billions on the line. The CIA used technology they had never used in the field before on finding, I'll let you all look into it because it's non-verified sources, but they ultimately used a live heartbeat radar beacon. They were able to find him because he held on, because he had hope, because he had a heartbeat. And they sent billions of dollars. In fact, we blew up 2 planes, saving this man because he was worth it. Now look, I'm not asking you to blow up the credit union to save 1 member. Risk is risk, and you're extending credit and hope every day. And often as credit unions, we tell the good part of the story. In fact, I think of his rescue. That's what we all talk about. The news was full of pictures, a lot of them AI created, by the way, of his rescue, of his smiling face and the U.S. soldiers that rescued him. And I'm here to say, as somebody who knows a little bit about the inside track of that rescue, that is not how that went. That is not how that went. In fact, the CIA, 16 hours into his disappearance, they start a misinformation campaign with the Iranian government. They start saying that they have actually conducted the rescue because they did indeed have the pilot. They got him within a few hours. And so they took those photos of the ground rescue and the vehicles leaving and start sending it out on the Iranian channels. Then the CIA contacts DOD, says, we think we found the heartbeat. We think we found your guy. And if you're not willing to take that risk, we think you should send 2 planes in the wrong direction. And then when they come for the firefight that will ensue, blow up the planes. I love that somebody had that plan. Think of your meetings, okay? Think of your team member who comes into you and is like, hey, boss, I got a plan. Sometimes you gotta do the crazy thing. You got to do the risky thing. And what ended up happening on this rescue, not only were there 3 special forces units involved from multiple branches of the military, we had 2 diversion campaigns going on at the same time. And when he did finally make it back to U.S. soil, to the U.S. military, he didn't have some God is good quote. He didn't have some magical, mythical thing he said. He asked when he can go back out. I don't know if Garrett will ever understand that his grandpa started writing his story 70 years before this rescue and this moment and this unit. But you and I both know that he did. So as we think about credit union stories, our 100 years, I implore you, I ask you, what story are you telling? What story are you telling that's going to get the member in the door, that's going to say, I am in this parking lot and I'm terrified and alone and I don't know if I'm going to get the loan I need, the vehicle I need, the business loan I need. One of our most powerful things as people is the ability to connect by story, the ability to understand that even when it doesn't feel like we have some amazing story, yeah, maybe it's not this huge rescue story. Maybe your credit union, it started on the factory line. Maybe, look, I know you're here. Maybe you're still the 2 people in the church who work on Tuesday and Thursday and Sunday afternoon. Our credit union story is something amazing, and I'm here today, team, to beg and implore you to tell it. Because we're not. Often we lead with our pricing, our product, our website. Those are amazing. Our partners in the room who make that all possible are phenomenal. But what happens when the generation who knew that grandpa helped start the credit union and got the first loan for the washing machine from the credit committee, when that goes away, what are we going to say? What makes us so special? But don't worry, you're like, Samantha, that sounds like a downer. I have an idea. Each and every one of you has a story to tell, whether it's personal or at the credit union. And good stories are the ones that have a tough middle. No one loves hearing the success story, and when you ask them, how did you get here? They're like, it's pretty easy. Just, kept showing up. Everything's gone my way. Gotten every promotion, gotten every opportunity, gotten every merger. Those aren't hard. The regulators love me. Never had a bad exam. Don't know what that's about. I'm aboard. They're my favorite thing. Oh, and my team, they never call out sick. They're lovely. We've never had an HR issue. Let's be honest. Some stories get really tough. Some of you in this room are living through the hardest chapter of your story. Some of you feel like the person in your parking lot. All you have is a heartbeat and a little bit of hope. Maybe it's the diagnosis. Maybe it's the bad news. Maybe it's the tough merger. Talk about that part. Don't wait till it gets good. Don't wait till the rescue's done, because the story is in the middle. And if we tell Congress a lot more about the person in the parking lot who needed our help and a lot less about regulatory relief and our products, I think we're going to have a really good story to tell that's going to bring the next generation in. Because here's the thing. The best story, the one we all share, because I don't know each one of your credit union stories, is this one. This is the credit union story, and it's amazing. You own it. You own the credit union. You are a member owner, and that's what differentiates the credit union. That's our special sauce. That is true no matter what, because it's not our tax status, it's our structure. Not-for-profit financial cooperative. A little bit of mouthful. You own it. Our members understand that. That's what makes them show up. That's what makes them believe in us. And so you have heard us last year roll out the You Own It campaign. You've seen us now take it to lawmakers, and you've seen the difference it makes. And so what I encourage you to do is own your story. This week, we've set up a booth right out there to tell your story. And some of you are like, absolutely, Samantha, count me in. 45 minutes later, we're clipping video. You know your story. You love it. You're a natural storyteller. And for the others of you who are like, absolutely not, nope, not going to do it, I beg of you, if you don't tell it, no one else will. So own it. Own your story and share it. Share it with the world. Share it with Congress, selfishly, but also make sure that you share it with your members and your team. That's why they show up for you every day, because they know they own it.